The formula for creating the perfect cover slide for your pitch deck in English is way easier than you think. The cover slide is the first impression an investor has of you and your company. If you get the cover slide right, the investor will be much more interested in reading your pitch. If you get your cover slide wrong, your pitch is more likely to end up in the garbage. So in this video, I'm going to explain how investors see pitch decks, the 3 elements that go into your cover slide, and how to test your cover slide before you send it to investors. Let's get started. Investors see hundreds of pitch decks. Most of those pitch decks are trying to seem cool, sexy, or very cutting edge. Because so many pitch decks are trying to be cool, sexy, or very cutting edge, investors aren't impressed by those tactics. Investors are looking for companies that make it very clear they solve a problem and can make the investor money. To understand what investors are looking for, let's look at another industry that's targeting investors and business people. The business book industry is trying to capture the attention of investors and entrepreneurs like you. We can steal elements from business books to make our own pitches better. Let's look at 3 of the top-selling business books right now. Atomic Habits by James Clear, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. All of these books follow the same formula. They have a title, a tagline which explains exactly the value they offer, and an image that complements the tagline. However, as you can see from Atomic Habits, the image isn't always necessary. These books aren't trying to be sexy or impressive. They're just telling you the value you will get if you read the book. So how can we steal those principles and use them in our pitch decks? Your cover slide needs 3 things: a brand and logo, a tagline that explains what your company does, and an image that complements the tagline. Let's look at a hypothetical company to explain how to design a good cover slide. The company is called ShockNet. They invented a cheap device that instantly boosts your Wi-Fi speed and strength by 50%. This would be a great company to invest in. The cover slide should tell the story of what ShockNet offers. First, the branding. The brand and logo are the easy part. Make them big enough to read easily. You should use 30-point font at a minimum. Place your brand and logo near the center of your slide so that people pay attention to it. Now, you might think it looks good if your brand and logo are alone on their own slide. Don't do this. This slide tells the investor nothing about the company. It contains 0 information and has 0 value. Once you have your brand and logo in place, the next step is to write the perfect tagline. The tagline is the most important part of your cover slide. It should say in 1 or 2 sentences the value your company offers or the problem it solves. Ideally, the tagline should be 5 to 12 words, but this isn't a strict rule. It is much better to be clear with a long tagline than unclear with a short one. For ShockNet, the tagline could be, "Our device immediately boosts your Wi-Fi speed and strength by 50%, and it only costs $20 to make." It's a long tagline, but the value of the company is obvious. A shorter option could be, "Our $20 device boosts Wi-Fi speed by 50%. Or even, ShockNet, instantly boosting Wi-Fi speed by 50%. The big mistake I see entrepreneurs and founders make is trying to be clever with their taglines. For example, the founder of ShockNet could write, "ShockNet, bringing people together at double speed," or "ShockNet, the bullet train of Wi-Fi." Now, we know what ShockNet does, so this tagline makes sense. But for the investor, these taglines mean nothing. What do you mean bring people together? Is it a social media platform, a dating app, a networking site? What is a bullet train of Wi-Fi? The investor still has no idea what ShockNet does, and they'll be instantly frustrated at the extra work they have to do to understand the company. When you write your tagline, you have to see it from the investor's perspective. The investor doesn't know you or care about your company. You have to make it easy for them to see the value you offer. Once you have a clear tagline, the next step is to choose the perfect cover image. The picture isn't always necessary. You should only include an image if it helps tell the story of your company. For ShockNet, the image could be a picture of the device with the labels, "One $20 device, 50% faster Wi-Fi." Or it could be 2 images. One picture of a slow laptop without the device, then another image with the same laptop and the device plugged in with instantly faster Wi-Fi. Both of these images show the value the company offers. The mistake that most people make is creating an image that is too vague or sells the wrong thing. For ShockNet, this could be an image of a laptop with electricity shooting out of it. It looks cool, but it's not what you're selling. The image should help tell the story of your company. If it doesn't do that, leave it out. Once you've chosen your tagline and the image you want to use, the next step is to test your cover slide. Before you start sending your pitch deck to investors, you want to make sure your cover slide accurately explains your company. If your startup provides a service that the average person can understand, go to a cafe and show your cover slide to strangers. If they can guess what your company does from the cover slide, it's good enough. If they can't understand what your company does or the value you offer, you need to adjust your cover slide until most people can accurately guess what you do. If your company provides a niche service that most people can't understand, find people in your industry. They need to be people who don't know about your company or what you offer. If they can accurately guess what your company does from the cover slide, it's good enough to send to investors. Now, you may be thinking, Dylan, this will never work for my company. What I do is too complicated. My company makes a robot that enters a person's heart. It crawls into the left ventricle, then releases a chemical called clatibulus that causes the patient to generate another chemical called hosprocine, which prevents blood clots. I can't possibly communicate that all in one slide. You don't have to. The pitch deck is not about sharing all the details. It's about showing the value your company offers. If an investor chooses to work with you, they will thoroughly analyze your company during the due diligence process. You do not need to be 100% accurate in your pitch deck so long as it's 100% clear the value you offer and roughly how you provide that value. So for this medical company, you could have a slide that says, "We make a microbot that destroys blood clots." Then include an image of a robot inside the heart. The investors will know the value you offer. Now, having an amazing first slide is awesome, but during a pitch, you need to be able to clearly articulate what your company offers. And when you're meeting people on the street, you need to be able to explain what your company does without a pitch deck. If you want to be able to clearly tell the story of your company in English, check out the next video.